You're listening to the Astromommy Weekly Horoscope, a forecast that hopes to shine a light in the dark, helping us all see where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. Whether you're a first-time listener or a long-time subscriber, thanks for being here. I truly appreciate you being in the Astromommy community. I hope you enjoy this week's horoscope and card reading. Without further ado, here is the weekly horoscope. The universe is about to pinch itself awake. Saturn stations direct this week. Weekly forecast for Tuesday, October 31st through Monday, November 6th, 2023. Good evening, friends. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the lunar eclipse horoscopes for all 12 signs posted on Saturday and had a chance to watch the live stream of the eclipse too. I spent my Saturday afternoon folding laundry and watching the live stream, and it was fun. Not the most impressive visual eclipse since it was only a partial, meaning that the shadow we saw move across the face of the moon looked like a small bite was being taken out of it, but still interesting nonetheless. Another post that went out over the weekend was the Lunar Poetry Slam, where I shared my word poem, A Hagstone Poem of Uses, and others shared their poems in the comments as well. If you missed the poetry post, you can check it out by clicking here, or just click on the Lunar Poetry Ritual tab at the top of the newsletter page on Substack to be directed to that page of the website. Thank you to those who commented and participated. It is always so much fun to write and read the word poems. So today is the 7-day weekly forecast for Tuesday, October 31st through next Monday, November 6th. And of course, there will be a 3-card tarot spread at the end of today's post for the week. I also started my daily check-ins posts for my paid subscribers today, which went out this morning. If you are not a paid subscriber yet, I hope you think about becoming one. It's only $5 a month, and it really does make a difference. And thank you to everyone who has subscribed or donated. You guys fucking rock. I hope you all enjoy the new format and the daily check-ins. Let me know if you have any questions by replying to this newsletter in the comments, or you can send me an email to astromommyastrology@gmail.com. Okay, let's get into the astrology. All times are in Eastern Time unless mentioned otherwise. This week is full of trines and oppositions, which are really opposite in their expressions, so I feel this will be a pretty dynamic week that has both highs and lows. We could see some things happen quickly and smoothly, and we could see a lot of standoffs, power plays, and debates going on. The biggest shift, though, is at the end of the week when the Sun opposes Jupiter and Venus opposes Neptune on Friday, followed by Saturn stationing direct on Saturday, November 4th, which symbolizes the themes of Saturn, like limitations, boundaries, and karmic lessons, coming back online, and we may feel or see more movement in the Pisces-ruled house that Saturn is traveling through in our charts. Saturn entered Pisces back on March 7th, 2023, and then he stationed retrograde on June 16th at 7 degrees 12 minutes, and he will be traveling back all the way to 0 degrees 30 minutes, which is basically the starting point of Pisces. So when he turns direct, we will be feeling his presence in this sign very strongly again, just as we did in March. If you have placements in any of the early degrees of any of the mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces, then you may be feeling Saturn's energy more intensely right now. Because Saturn is literally stopped and not moving all week, people may feel really frustrated, and there could be this underlying feeling like nothing is ever going to move again, or work out, evolve, or change. And that simply is not true. Of course, things are going to move, work, evolve, and change. But this could be the feeling, so just understand that this is what's going on. It may be hard to not feel whiny about it, especially with the moon traveling through Gemini and Cancer, 2 signs that can be rather emotionally fickle. It may be a good time to try to enjoy this last period of pause before the energy starts to move again. I have put together a graphic highlighting the house that Pisces rules based on your rising sign to help you pinpoint which areas of life you may feel Saturn's influences more strongly once he stations direct. The chart is located in the weekend portion of today's post, where we will talk about this transit in a bit more depth. The Sun and Venus will both enter the 3-degree range of engagement to Jupiter and Neptune, respectively, on Tuesday, so these oppositional energies are building up all week and then will be dissipating over the weekend. You may very well feel these energies before, during, and after the exact transit on Friday, so just be aware that these energies are present the whole week. If you are short on time this week, at least read Friday's and Saturday's horoscopes to learn more about the most potent energies at play this week. But first, as always, let's talk about the moon. The moon is out of bounds from Tuesday until Saturday, which could make for a bit of an emotionally unpredictable week. There are so many conflicting energies, it could feel very bipolar. The moon starts the week out in the curious, witty, and mischievous sign of Gemini and moves into the sensitive, nurturing, and intuitive sign of Cancer on Wednesday. Once she is in Cancer, she will be out of bounds all week, meaning that her declination, the distance that she is either north or south from the celestial equator, is further than the obliquity of the Earth, which is 23.5 degrees. The obliquity of the Earth is caused by the tilt of the Earth's axis in relationship to the Sun's path, the ecliptic. The Sun is bound to this area of our sky and can only travel as high up as the Tropic of Cancer and as low down as the Tropic of Capricorn, thus giving us the seasons. But the planets and the moon are not bound to this plane. So what the heck does an out-of-bounds moon mean symbolically? According to astrologer Stephen Forrest, quote, "The out-of-bounds moon is spontaneous, emancipated, liberated, released in its own recognizance, and utterly on its own. It has loudly proclaimed, 'You can take this job, marriage, church, obligation, moral principle, town, duty, and shove it.' The moon has claimed its genius, its passion, and its right to be itself. No need to obfuscate, to be diplomatic, or lie to anyone anymore, unless you feel like it. No more coprophagous grin, which means feeding on feces. No need to worry about staying in anyone's good graces. Out of bounds, the moon no longer plays the game. It rejects all rules that are not of its own making. Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are finally free at last," said Martin Luther King Jr., unquote. The Cancer moon usually wants to create a warm and inviting home that feels comfortable and secure, but with Saturn nearly stopped and the out-of-bounds energy, we have a wild card moon all week. She doesn't come back to within the obliquity of the Earth until Saturday, November 4th, 2023, when she ingresses into the courageous, dramatic, and performative sign of Leo, where she will stay throughout the weekend. Next Monday, she makes her way into the critical, precise, and systematic sign of Virgo to start off next week. Let's look at the signs of the moon this week by mode and element. The work week is mutable air and cardinal water, so the feeling of wanting to be a social butterfly and do things that make us feel more emotionally comfortable and secure in our environments. The weekend is dominated by fixed fire. We may feel more artistic, expressive, and ego-driven, and with Saturn stationing direct during a moon in Leo, everyone will hear about everyone's personal drama. Next week, the energy shifts into mutable earth, and we may feel the need to ground and reconnect ourselves with the mundane tasks at hand. This could feel more possible with the moon coming back in bounds as well. Now we'll go over each day of the week and touch on the most important transits for that day, and then we'll do a 3-card tarot spread. Tuesday, October 31st, 2023. Happy Halloween! The moon. On Tuesday, the moon will be in curious, detailed, and social Gemini all day. Last week, we talked about Sigmund Freud having a Gemini moon, which fits the psychoanalytical characteristics of the Gemini moon. But this week, I'd like to highlight C.S. Lewis, who is best known for writing the Chronicles of Narnia. Interestingly, he had Neptune, the planet of fantasy and dreams, conjunct his Gemini moon. I love that the moon is in Gemini on Halloween because it fits so perfectly. When the moon is in Gemini, it is a great time to dress up, try things on, and play different characters for fun. How ideal is that? It can also be a very busy, social, and talkative time. The transits. The moon in Gemini will be forming quincunxes all day to everything in Scorpio, so that would be the Sun, Mars, and Mercury. So there could be an oddness to the day, like you are trying to figure out what to wear for Halloween, but you have all these mismatched costume pieces, and no matter what you put together, it just isn't right, but it's all you've got. Could also be the feeling like the whole world is at war or on the brink of war, but here you are, adjusting your toddler's pumpkin costume and tying up your teenager's Dracula collar, or fastening the Velcro on your own banana costume, while there are innocent people dying on the other side of the world, and it just seems wrong to be celebrating some holiday where you are supposed to dress up in costumes, knock on the doors of strangers, and ask them for free candy. It feels oddly strange and discordant. But the main energy of the day, besides all the strange quincunx energy, is a trine between Venus in Virgo and Uranus in Taurus retrograde at 8:51 a.m. This is a transit with a twist. The thing is, we never know what surprises Uranus will bring, and that is part of the fun of it. What I can tell you is that Venus is a benefic, and even though she is in her fall in Virgo, that doesn't mean that she won't bestow some good fortune. Venus and Uranus in a trine in Earth signs could literally mean surprise money or a tangible gift. On another note, Venus trine Uranus could mean that we have a sudden moment of creative thought, expression, or wit. We could experience the joy of a new friend, love at first sight, or an unusual and exciting contact with another person. So it may be something new, exciting, unpredictable, surprising, and it may involve love, gifts, money, friends, or romance. Venus can also literally represent sisters, daughters, aunts, and female friends. Wednesday, November 1st, 2023. Rabbit, rabbit. Happy first of the month. The moon. On Wednesday, the moon ingresses into Cancer at 5:30 p.m. So we may feel the energy shift from C.S. Lewis and the wordy adventures of Narnia to Mark Ruffalo, an American actor who has gained international recognition for playing Bruce Banner, the Hulk of the Avengers. I think that actors often play characters that show up in their charts, and Mark Ruffalo's dual character Bruce Banner and his alter ego the Hulk just seemed perfect to me with an out-of-bounds Cancer moon. Mark Ruffalo's natal moon is at 29 degrees Cancer and was out of bounds as well. I'm not saying that all natives with Cancer moons have alter egos, but I couldn't resist this pairing. So we are moving away from the chitter-chatter of Gemini toward the homey, nurturing, receptive Cancer moon. Cancer is very friendly and can be just as talkative as Gemini, but at some point they will need to rest and rejuvenate at home. You may feel yourself or notice others at this time do the same and start to draw their energy back towards themselves and need to regroup in the comfort of their own abodes. The transits. Before the moon moves into Cancer, she has a bit of business to finish up in Gemini, and the first thing is a square to Venus in Virgo at 3:25 a.m. The moon and Venus in a square can symbolize some struggle, strife, or disharmony with family members, women in your life, or children. This transit could also symbolize some laziness or indifference. The moon may want to just blow off an obligation and indulge in some good old-fashioned literature, online research, or, let's be honest, mindless scrolling. Then at 8:36 a.m., the moon forms another square, but this time to Neptune in Pisces retrograde. Again, there could be some struggle, strife, or disharmony, but it is fueled by wanting to emotionally escape into the mind or being fed up with the mundane and boring world and wanting more excitement, more social interactions, more interesting conversations. People could complain of feeling bored. In the evening at 5:30 p.m., the moon ingresses into Cancer, and then 1 hour later at 6:28 p.m., she perfects a trine to Saturn, and our boredom could turn into sheer motivation to do something that will make us feel better. All of a sudden, we could feel a lot more emotionally stable and start to apply some effort to our situation or environment, changing the mood from bored and wanting to escape our reality, but feeling lazy about it, to driven to do something, start something, take initiative, and make it better. And when we do take action, we feel better, more at home, at ease, and therefore secure. It could be as simple as deciding to make some tea, take a shower, go for a walk, drive, or run, and just a simple change in attitude, pace, and activity makes life better, more tolerable. Thursday, November 2nd, 2023. The moon. On Thursday, the moon is in Cancer all day and makes trines to the sun and Mars in Scorpio. It has the potential to be a pretty pleasant day if you don't sweat the small stuff, and the day is full of small stuff. In the morning, we could be frustrated, but then feel better by the afternoon. Then we could feel frustrated again, followed by hopefulness and more frustration. So it's a real up and down kind of day. The transits. We start out the day with the moon forming a semi-square to Uranus in Taurus retrograde at 5:48 a.m., indicating that there is a sudden change to our plans that is frustrating, or we receive an unexpected no from someone or something that we are trying to do. Just roll with it and keep on keeping on. In the afternoon, we have two pleasant and harmonious transits that could make for a very nice afternoon. First, the moon forms a trine to the sun, and that is always nice and symbolizes feelings of ease, grace, and momentum. Our circumstances may feel in alignment with our goals and ambitions, and this feels great, an emotional up for the day. This is followed by the moon in Cancer forming a sextile to Jupiter in Taurus retrograde, which could mean an opportunity or a possibility for some good fortune to come your way. Yay! Our confidence could be up, and we could all be feeling very optimistic about life and where we are headed. The big picture looks hopeful. The evening on Thursday has a bit more of a small roller coaster feel, with first the sun in Scorpio forming a sesquiquadrate to Neptune in Pisces retrograde, then the moon in Cancer making a trine to Mars, and finally the moon forming a sesquiquadrate to Saturn. So the positive of this little dance in the evening is the moon trine Mars, which could symbolize energy, action, and passion moving along very quickly. Your leadership skills could be shining brightly, and people could be noticing how courageous and decisive you are being. All of this feels good, but underneath it all are a few setbacks or hurdles you have yet to cross, and you know, even if you are putting on a brave face, that they are there nagging at your consciousness. It's all good. You got this. At least life isn't boring, right? But it would be nice if it picked up the dang pace. We are all in the same slow boat. The sun perfects his opposition to Jupiter at 1:02 a.m., technically tomorrow morning. Friday, November 3rd, 2023. The moon. On Friday, the moon is once again in Cancer all day. Did I mention that not only is she out of bounds, but she is also moving slower than usual? The moon travels an average of 13 degrees per day and maxes out at about 15 degrees when she is moving really fast. But she is slow and only moving 12 degrees 19 minutes, and she will get even slower over the weekend. This is important because the ancients said that all planetary influences had to come through the sublunary sphere, and thus when the moon is fast, things feel fast, and when she is slow, things feel slow. It's simple. But this day feels like a slow motion day, like a scene in a movie where something really big and fast is happening, but they slow it down so you can see all the parts because it's so jam-packed with action that is the only way you're going to get it all. That is today. There is a lot happening, and all right before Saturn stations direct tomorrow. So I feel that this will be a big deal, whatever happens on this day. And we may not hear about it right away, but when we look back, it will be around this day when things changed. The transits. In the early morning at 1:02 a.m., the Sun in Scorpio perfects his opposition to Jupiter in Taurus retrograde at 10 degrees 30 minutes. And this may feel like a standoff, or a decision has to be made between two things. Thankfully, this is an opposition between the Sun, who represents our mission and ambitions in life, as well as the life force, our vitality and leadership abilities, and Jupiter, the greater benefic, who is also a giver of life and was said to be the ruler of sperm and fertility. Jupiter also represents honor, prestige, and a grand vision full of hope, joy, and abundance. The opposition is a 180-degree angle between the two planets and represents a dilemma, decision, or action that needs to be taken. Something has to give and a resolution has to come to pass. Thankfully, between the Sun and Jupiter, we can see great things like success, advancement, and good fortune, and it could be the choice between one good thing and another good thing and feel like either choice is great. On the other hand, this transit could indicate a time when there is too much pride, boastfulness, or arrogance at play, and someone has to get down off their high horse or soapbox and admit defeat. There may be a clear winner and a clear loser, or both parties may feel like they won big. It just depends. After this transit, the moon forms a square to Chiron in Aries retrograde at 1:14 a.m., and this feels to me like a sacrifice has to be made. Whatever battle for good or bad, better or worse, that is happening with the Sun opposite Jupiter, there will be some sort of emotional sacrifice that has to be made in order for a resolution to come to pass. This could be tricky emotionally. At 6:49 a.m., the moon in Cancer perfects a trine to Mercury in Scorpio, and this symbolizes information flowing freely and effortlessly. This could also indicate emotions coming out and people needing to talk about their feelings, and they won't be inhibited in their expressions, but rather deep, emotional, passionate, and forthcoming with subterranean truths that they've been holding in for a while. By mid-morning at 10:35 a.m., the moon in Cancer makes a sextile to Uranus in Taurus retrograde, indicating a sudden, spontaneous opportunity popping up that may make people feel more free or independent. In the evening on Friday is when it gets a bit touchy, as first the moon in Cancer perfects a square to the nodes at 5:01 p.m., and by the end of the night at 11:27 p.m., the moon will oppose Pluto in Capricorn. This means that this whole evening could be very intense, as whatever we are going through is testing our survival emotionally. During the evening between the moon squaring the nodes and her eventual opposition to Pluto, she forms two harmonious aspects, a sextile to Venus in Virgo and a trine to Neptune in Pisces retrograde, indicating that there is an effort to work together and help one another, and there may be helpful people or helpful family members who are willing to be of assistance. Emotionally, we could feel really good and in touch with our emotions, or we could feel really raw and emotional, equally in touch with our emotions. But when the moon trines Neptune from Cancer to Pisces, this could be like an emotional tidal wave coming out that hits like a ton of bricks. In the end, this is a good thing, and that we don't want to bottle up our feelings, but in the moment, it could feel intense. Venus in Virgo perfects her opposition to Neptune in Pisces retrograde at 6:05 p.m., and this symbolizes a standoff, decision that has to be made, or a dilemma between Venusian things and Neptunian things. So we are dealing with relationships, values, and money, opposite illusions, dreams, fantasies, and confusion. So this could feel really confusing, or it could seem pretty clear, the decision we need to make. Some examples of how this could manifest are the end of a love affair, experiencing a financial loss, or having health problems that come from overindulgence in something like sweets, sex, or drugs. On the other hand, this opposition could result in something more positive, like something romantic and fantastical coming about, or more creative imagination, or feeling spiritual compassion. At the very end of the day, the moon in Cancer opposes Pluto in Capricorn at 11:27 p.m., indicating that we have another standoff situation where our security, survival, and feelings of safety may be tested. This could happen in a literal way, but more often than not, this will manifest emotionally, and we may feel at the end of our ropes or feel depressed and wounded in some way. This could symbolize a highly stressful time with intense emotions, anxieties, and worries about yourself or a significant woman in your life. The weekend, Saturday, November 4th, 2023. The moon. On Saturday, the moon ingresses into Leo at 3:20 a.m., so we may feel the energy shift from the emotional, nurturing, protective Mark Ruffalo to the smiley Laura Vandervoort, who played Supergirl in the hit show Smallville and has her natal moon at 24 degrees Leo. We are no longer satisfied with staying in the moody waters of Cancer and instead want to bring it all out in the open with drama and flair. Leo is theatrical and focuses on being the star in the room. With the moon in Leo all weekend, you and others around you may feel more inspired, flamboyant, and childlike. There could literally be more smiles over the weekend with the moon in Leo. The transits. The very first thing that happens once the clock strikes midnight, and it is officially Saturday, is that Saturn stations direct at 0 degrees Pisces 30 minutes at 3:02 a.m. Below is a chart showing the house that you may feel this shift in based on your rising sign. Find your rising sign on the left and the corresponding Pisces house topics in your chart. If you don't know your rising sign, you can calculate your astrological chart for free at astro.com or cafeastrology.com. So Saturn station direct means that for the next 8 months, Saturn will be applying pressure upon the structures, boundaries, and commitments in our lives. This can also be felt in our relationships as well, depending upon what Saturn is activating in your own chart. So this pressure will test the strength of such things, and if they are strong enough to endure this force, they will pass, and if they are too weak, they will crumble. Imagine a cosmic steamroller going over your life right now, traveling through the house in your chart ruled by Pisces, and applying this immense heaviness and weight to those areas, testing their solidness, their internal fortitude, and their ability to withstand the compression. Life may feel smaller, harder, and more limited, like it's being squished by two heavy hands, and we are caught in the middle wondering when it will let up. Saturn is also said to be the great teacher because through these hard lessons in life we are made stronger, more resilient, and able to take on more with each test we pass. If you have passed a test of Saturn before, then pat yourself on the back because you survived. Every day that we wake up, we are survivors. Every day that we see the glorious shining sun, it is a reminder that we have survived the hands of fate and to be grateful for another day. Drink in the air, swim amongst the sunshine, and weep for joy in the sound of the moon. As starlight beings, we are one with this earth, this universe, and these cosmos. And as Deepak Chopra says in this next video, quote, "Find yourself and you'll find the universe," unquote. I wonder if Saturn transits are the universe pinching itself to see if it is awake or sleeping. Anyway, entire books have been written about Saturn, so I must go on. After Saturn stations direct, the moon ingresses into the gregarious, lively, and proud sign of Leo at 4:21 a.m., bringing about our more artistic, expressive, and theatrical sides. At 12:06 p.m., Mercury in Scorpio perfects an opposition to Uranus in Taurus retrograde, so we could hear some shocking news or receive a surprise message, text, or email from someone that pushes us towards a decision. With the opposition, this indicates the need for something to break, give way, or come to an agreement in order to find a resolution. And with Mercury, this may be something spoken, written, or even driven, since Mercury rules small forms of transportation, like walking, biking, public transport, and motor vehicles. And whatever it is shocking, disruptive, and or revolutionary. Late on Saturday evening, the moon in Leo makes a square to Jupiter in Taurus retrograde at 11:45 p.m., indicating a moment when we could feel over-the-top emotions. And with Jupiter, these are usually favorable emotions, but the key with the square is to not overdo it. There's the tendency for people to get boastful, arrogant, and start traipsing around like they own the place with the moon in Leo squared Jupiter in Taurus. So if you find yourself acting this way, maybe tone it down a bit. Moon square Jupiter also means that there could be something done in excess, so it may also be a time to show some restraint and control. Sunday, November 5th, 2023, the moon. On Sunday, the moon is in Leo all day, and at 4:36 a.m., she will form her third quarter square to the sun, the third quarter, or last quarter phase. You may notice her in the early morning sky as a half moon illuminated on the left. The third quarter phase of the moon is a time of reorientation when we are taking all that we've learned and accomplished throughout this lunar cycle and we are focusing on rearranging our old skills. It's another crisis point in the cycle that initiates something new out of something old. So you can ask yourself, what do I already have that I can make something new with? Like looking in your cupboards for ingredients to bake something out of what you have rather than going to the store to buy fresh ingredients. So there is a sense of resourcefulness going on. The transits. After the moon makes her third quarter square to the sun in the early morning, she will then square Mars in Scorpio at 12:59 p.m. and then Uranus in Taurus retrograde at 10:11 p.m. So it is a day full of squares. The square aspect is a 90-degree angle and is said to be the energy of Mars, and therefore it brings up conflicts, challenges, struggle, and strife. But it is an energy that needs to be pushed, pulled, and acted upon. Mars doesn't like to be inactive, so when we have a square, it is an aspect of action, force, motivation, and perseverance. Squares give us grit, strength, and fortitude because we are overcoming challenges, finding our inner martial courage and bravery to stand up to whatever challenge we are facing. The moon's square to Mars may do just that, bring about challenges, and may indicate fights, arguments, and power struggles. The moon in a square to Uranus means that there may be something that suddenly comes out of the blue that forces us to take action. Like an earthquake or the car in front of you suddenly slamming on their brakes, we are forced to react and respond when the moon squares Uranus, so be on your toes and drive safely. Next week, Monday, November 6, 2023, the moon. On Monday, the moon ingresses into Virgo at 2:39 p.m., so we may feel the energy shift in the afternoon from the smiling, extroverted, outgoing Leo supergirl to the more introverted, practical, and analytical Elon Musk, who has a Virgo moon at 8 degrees in his third house of communication. We are no longer interested in being the star of the show. Instead, we want to get a handle on things that maybe we've let slip over the weekend. Virgo is, if nothing else, detail-oriented and likes to manage things. Sometimes this means that the Virgo person needs to create a bit of a mess in order to clean it up, and other times this means that they are methodical creatures of habit, doing their laundry on Wednesdays every week without fail, for example. With the Virgo moon influence coming in on Monday, you and others around you may feel more like cleaning, organizing, and getting things back in order after the crazy wild Leo weekend. The transits. Monday is a mixed bag in terms of transits. First, the moon in Leo makes a square to Mercury in Scorpio early in the morning at 3:25 a.m., so this could herald in uncomfortable news or aggravating text messages that make your blood boil a bit, or it could mean that you finally stayed up late Sunday night to finish something you were writing or working on because you had the power and stamina to just get it done. Then at 10:37 a.m., Venus in Virgo forms a trine to Pluto in Capricorn, symbolizing a powerful transformation in your relationships, values, or with money that feels good, easy, and flowing. Venus and Pluto in a harmonious trine like this can mean deep, loving feelings, an intense romantic experience, or something profoundly artistic coming to be. In the afternoon, the moon ingresses into Virgo, and within an hour faces off with Saturn in Pisces, who is now direct, remember? This is a bit of an ouchy transit that can mean serious feelings of melancholy, depression, and isolation creep in. We were feeling intensely good with Venus's trine to Pluto, and then this is like a huge slap from the reality police right to the face. There's something about this transit that just means wake up, like an ice-cold glass of water waking you up from a really good sex dream or something. So be prepared for a bit of a hard wake-up call on Monday afternoon as the moon makes this transit. By the late evening on Monday, Mercury in Scorpio perfects a trine to Neptune in Pisces retrograde, indicating a heightened imagination imagination, spiritual intuition, or cognitive thinking. People may feel more artistic or in tune with their deeper thoughts and feelings. It could be a time when words just pour out of your mouth or out of your fingers on a keyboard like droplets of water from a swollen cloud. If the sun is shining in your world, there may be a rainbow. If not, this transit may make a fun puddle to splash around in like a little kid in the fall. Either way, try to have fun and appreciate the subtleties in life. The Tarot Spread. Let's move on to a 3-card spread for the week representing your strengths, weaknesses, and the advice. The first card representing your strengths is 7 of Cups. On this card, we see a young man standing in front of the blue ocean and sky, trying to decide which bowl to pick. In front of him, in between clouds of mist or fog, are 7 upside-down bowls, their contents hidden inside. We can see that some water is flowing out of a hole out of one bowl, a snake is slithering out of the fog surrounding another, and a dragon wing is peeking out of yet another. This card is all about our dreams, fantasies, opportunities, and choices. The man on this card is gazing at these 7 golden upside-down bowls, hiding different things that he desires or thinks he desires. He must be careful which he chooses and must go beyond the illusion of something shiny or adventurous and make a decision about what is right for him from a realistic standpoint, probing the depths of the offer to unearth the reality of what each opportunity requires of him in exchange for the gift he would receive. So as our strength card, I feel this represents having many ideas and possibilities. We may be thinking of a few things that may be too fanciful or unrealistic. So the message of this card is to pick one that is actually doable and focus on that. Decision making is a strength. Being able to decide where to put your energy is an asset, and then taking the necessary steps forward to attain that goal will make it more likely to come to be. Action is what gets the train moving on the tracks, not wishing the train would go. The second card representing your weaknesses is 5 of Cups, reversed. On this card, we see a woman wearing a gray dress and looking down as she spills the contents of a bowl onto the earth with her foot into a hole in the ground. Next to her are 3 bowls that look like they must be cracked and their contents have leaked out. Behind her is one full bowl, its contents glittering in the starlight. In the distance, there is a winding path leading to somewhere else. In the upright position, this card usually symbolizes feeling disappointed, like a failure, and focusing on the things that have gone wrong, instead of the opportunities that may be available to you. It represents finding a way to move on from the loss and take the path to a new future. In the reverse position, it can indicate feeling sorry for yourself and not wanting to share your pain with others because you are feeling guilty or ashamed about your perceived failures. It's also an invitation to forgive yourself, pick yourself back up, and make the journey to somewhere else. As the card that represents your weakness, I strongly feel it is about feeling sorry for yourself. You may even be tired of feeling this way, but don't see the way out of your predicament yet. You may also be feeling like since you failed in the past, you fear that you will fail again. This card is a reminder that there are still opportunities and things to keep working towards, even in the aftermath of failure. So we may be feeling loss, disappointment, and sadness, but there is still hope. We just have to turn around to see the path, pick up our one full bowl, and set out on a new adventure. And the third card representing the advice is 8, Strength, reversed. On this card, we see a woman in a white dress. Half of her face looks human, and the other half looks like a lion. At her waist lies a white lamb, safe from harm, for the woman has tamed the lion within. The strength card in the upright position represents courage, determination, and power. It signifies being able to overcome any obstacle. In the reverse position, this card represents the need to find your inner strength, courage, and determination. As the card that signifies the advice for the situation, I think this card is saying that by overcoming any self-doubt you have about your inner strength or ability to stay in balance and not give in to your weaknesses, you will be victorious against the obstacles you are challenged with. So to recap, your strength is that you have many choices, and all you need to do is make a decision about one of them and then go for it. Your weakness is that you are feeling sorry for yourself because of past failures, and you may fear that you will make the wrong choice. The advice is to tap into your inner strength and know that you have within you the power, courage, and determination to make the right choice and see things through to the end this time. Failure is not an option. In conclusion, for the weekly forecast, I would like to wish you all a happy Halloween week and Saturn Station Direct weekend. I hope you all have an interesting, fun, and spirited time. Please let me know what you think about the weekly horoscope and tarot reading in the comments. I truly appreciate your feedback. I hope this is helpful. Until next Monday, Astromummy. Thank you for reading or listening to the weekly horoscope. Quick links and resources can be found at the bottom of the newsletter. Today's cards were pulled from the Lightseers Tarot, available on Amazon. If you seek knowledge and enlightenment, the Astromummy newsletter may be right for you. Side effects of reading or listening to the Astromummy newsletter are common and include joy, jubilation, delight, happiness, gratitude, love, triumph, feeling in tune with the universe, experiencing deep insights, reflections, and contemplations, a lightened soul, a lighter step, feeling awake when others are asleep, illuminated, enlightened, having spiritual experiences, noticing repeating numbers, animals in nature, or songs on the radio that speak to you, getting vibes, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsmelliance, feeling like you know secret language, biophilia, crying tears of joy, emotional literacy, feeling lively, stable, exalted, having an auric glow, or feeling like you woke up on the right side of the bed have all been reported. If you purchase anything through the affiliate links that I provide in the newsletters, I will make a very small commission. Thanks for listening.